This is why a complete consciousness change is necessary in people to start seeing the world and themselves in a different way. Because the only way that a few can control the many is if the many control each other, or give their power away to the few. Now, all those things are happening. And as they said in the 60s, if they had a war and no one turned up, what would happen? There could be no war. You know, Bush and people like him and those that control him, they declare wars. They don't fight them. They get the population to fight them. This is the whole thing. Now, if the population refused to, there couldn't be a war. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as Einstein said, you cannot solve problems with the same level of consciousness that created them. Well, you can't become free with the level of consciousness that enslaved you. So there has to be a shift in consciousness, and if there's not, then nothing can change.
So let's talk about what I see as a great opportunity. If this whole game falls and goes boom, people do, there will be some painful fallout in terms of the materialistic aspect of our lives. Many people will lose homes, they already are. Many people will lose not just their home, but perhaps their car as well. It might be that it's forcing us back into extended family relationships again and so forth. Can you tell me what you see as the beauty and the fallout from the collapse of this current economic structure, if we're willing to take on a shift in consciousness?
Well, let's take the analogy of someone who's addicted to drugs. Often you'll hear them say, those that have come out of it eventually, I had to go to the lowest point it was possible to imagine before I had the understanding that I had to change. I had to do something about the situation I was in, because the status quo was not an option. Well, there are many addictions. There's emotional addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and there's things addiction. The addiction to things, to having the latest this, the latest that, a bigger this, a bigger that, and chasing this material dream as if it's, you know, a bigger fridge is going to make you happier than the one you've had, which is perfectly adequate. And it's this addiction to the accumulation of things, and the addiction, therefore, to the debt that overwhelmingly pays for them, that has enslaved people within the system. Because if you want this, then you must do this to get that. And what you must do, you must play the game by our rules. You must, for instance, see success as the accumulation of more and more things. Because if you buy into that version of success, then you will, in pursuing it, do exactly what we want you to do. Get into more debt and all the rest of it. And this consciousness change, this consciousness shift that has to take place, the world is going to change, and we're going to break the chains of control, is a evaluation of what success is. I mean, this is not just trite navel contemplation. This is fundamental stuff, in my view. Once you hijack the symbols of what is successful, you basically hijack the population in terms of the goals they pursue. Because the human race, for endless different reasons, not least constant encouragement through their lives, is suffering from a serious and deeply, deeply ingrained insecurity complex. And when people feel that level of insecurity, it manifests in so many ways in daily society, they are looking for a way of finding some sense of security. Because they're not finding it in here, they look out there for it. And the security they're looking for is a response to them that they're doing well, they're successful, they're not good people, and they're intelligent and they're talented, and oh yeah, and this is why you find, and having, well, like yourself, having been in television and the media, you find, and the higher you go into Hollywood and stuff like that, the most unbelievably insecure people are the ones that put themselves in these positions of public attention. Why? Because they are needy to
Yes.
be...
They need the greatest validation.
They need, yeah. They're the most insecure, and so they're looking for the most security from people in adoration and admiration and all the rest of it. This is why some of the most insecure people in the world are actually in the most public of positions, like actors and stuff, all the rest of it. And if you are seeking that kind of sense of security from out there, then if you're going to get this, right, you must succeed within this society, within the symbols and the ground rules of what is successful according to society.
And that's praised. I keep thinking of that infamous remark by President Bush with that woman sitting next to him and saying, "You work 3 jobs? Well, that's an American way now, isn't it? He. To be able to keep this charade up.
Exactly. And the thing is that when you are coming from a different angle, and you are, if you like, pursuing as your symbols of success happiness, loved, being loved and loving, and these things, then they're not symbols of success according to the system. So if you are looking for that confirmation of your success, none of that's any good. You have got to succeed on the grounds that everyone is being told is successful. Bigger house, bigger car, fame, lots of money, all this stuff. And so people in vast numbers, because of their insecurity and their need to be seen to be successful, they pursue all these bloody goals. And they get to the end of their lives, and this is why you see so many people get to the end of their lives, and they've pursued this, and they've pursued this, and some of them have got it, and they've found it's empty.